Am I the a-hole for telling my sister's fiancé the truth she hid for 7 years? I 29M never planned on getting involved in my sister's relationship. Honestly, I used to brag about how stable it was. She and her fiancé Caleb 30M were the couple everyone secretly envied. He treated her with a softness most guys don't bother giving anymore. He cooked for her, left little notes around the house, planned weekend trips when she was stressed, remembered her mom's birthday when she forgot. They looked like the type of couple who had already figured life out. Except I knew there was a part of her life Caleb had no idea existed, a part she worked extremely hard to bury. 7 years ago, before she met him, my sister got pregnant by her ex and decided to place the baby for adoption. At the time she was struggling mentally, financially, and emotionally, and she told me it was the hardest decision of her life. I was the only person who knew. She begged me not to tell our parents, not to tell friends, not to tell anyone. I kept the secret because I genuinely believed it was hers to disclose whenever she felt ready. But what she never told me back then, what I didn't find out until last year, was that she still talked to the adoptive family. Regularly. Texts, email updates, photos, birthday messages, and even small in-person visits every few months. She would tell Caleb she was going shopping, or seeing a friend, or running errands. Meanwhile she was visiting a child he didn't even know existed. When she finally told me, she broke down crying, saying she had built an entirely new life around a version of herself that wasn't real. She said she wanted to tell him one day, but that day never came. Months passed. Her relationship with Caleb seemed to get more serious. They moved in together. They started planning a backyard wedding. They looked at houses. Meanwhile, every time Caleb brought up having kids of their own, she'd either go silent or change the subject. I assumed it was because of the trauma of placing a child for adoption, but she never opened up. Instead, she just shut down. Caleb mentioned this to me once. He said he was worried she didn't want kids and he didn't want to pressure her. He looked genuinely heartbroken at the thought. That moment stuck with me more than I realized. Then things spiraled last month. I accidentally overheard her telling my mom that she was glad Caleb wasn't pushing for kids yet because once we're married, he'll calm down about it. My mom didn't understand what she meant, but I did. She planned to marry him without ever telling him he wasn't going to be her first child. She was ready to build a marriage on the idea that Caleb would never find out about her past, a past she was still actively living in. That sat heavy with me. I tried to talk to her privately later that night, telling her she needed to tell him before the wedding. She shut me down immediately. She said it was ancient history and didn't define her anymore. But clearly it did. She was crying on my couch a few months earlier because she hated lying. Everything came crashing down last weekend. We had a family dinner at my parents' house. In the middle of dessert, her phone rang, and she stepped outside to answer it. I only followed her because she sounded upset. Her voice cracked in the middle of saying hello. I thought something terrible happened. When I stepped onto the patio, she was turned away from the door, holding her phone close to her face. She wasn't upset. She was glowing. She was talking to her biological son on FaceTime. The kid, he must be about 7 now, was giggling and waving a little toy. She whispered "Mommy loves you" before ending the call. When she turned and saw me, she went pale. She begged me not to say anything, saying Caleb wasn't ready and wouldn't understand. I asked her when she planned on telling him at this point, before the wedding? After kids? Before they bought a house? She snapped, saying, "Never. It would ruin everything I built." She didn't seem afraid of hurting him. She seemed afraid of losing the fantasy life she created. That was the moment my stomach dropped. She wasn't planning on telling him ever. He was supposed to live his whole life thinking he was building a future on stable ground, while she hid a fundamental truth from him. I couldn't do it anymore. The next day I went to his apartment. He opened the door smiling, thinking I was dropping something off. I sat down and told him everything: the pregnancy, the adoption, the ongoing visits, the FaceTime call. I didn't exaggerate or dramatize it. I just told him the truth she wouldn't. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse me of lying. He just sat there looking like the world he built cracked in half. He thanked me quietly, said he needed to talk to her, and left. They argued for hours. We all heard about it later. She blamed me for weaponizing her trauma. She blamed him for being narrow-minded. She said she didn't know him her past. He told her he wasn't angry about the adoption. He was angry she planned to lie to him for the rest of their lives. He ended the engagement that night. My phone hasn't stopped blowing up since. My parents called me an a-hole for destroying her future. My sister blocked me. My aunt said I was cruel. Even my mom cried, saying I should have stayed out of it. But what was I supposed to do? Watch him walk into a marriage built on a lie so big it could shatter him later? Pretend I didn't hear her plan to keep him in the dark forever? Let him pour his entire life into someone who wasn't giving him the same truth? I didn't destroy anything. It was already broken. She just didn't want anyone to touch the pieces. So I'm here asking, am I truly the a-hole for choosing honesty when my sister refused to? Or was it worse to let her fiancé build a life on a secret he never deserved to be blindsided by?